Hello dear students, and welcome to this particular session. This is the second video on the poem The Heart of the Tree, which is composed by Henry Burner. In the previous video we discussed the first two stanzas of the poem, and in this particular video we are going to discuss the third stanza of the poem, which is the last stanza of the poem. And in this particular video we will also discuss the theme and title of the poem, and finally we will move on to the critical appreciation of the poem. So here is the stanza 3, and if you see in this particular stanza, the poet raises the same question that he had raised in the first and second stanza of the poem. Having raised that particular question, he goes on to answer that question himself, and the answer that he provides gives us or tells us about some more benefits of trees. In this stanza, the poet says, what does he plant who plants a tree? He plants in sap and leaf and wood, in love of home and loyalty, and far-cast thought of civic good, his blessings on the neighborhood, who in the hollow of his hand holds all the growth of all our land, a nation's growth from sea to sea, steers in his heart who plants a tree. So in this particular stanza as well, the poet raises the same question for the third time to create more interest in the readers. But in the final stanza, or we can say that the final stanza of this poem is little different from the previous two stanzas, because in this particular stanza the poet becomes more philosophical. According to him, the man who plants a tree plants it with a sense of loyalty. He plants it with the sense of loyalty. Good values like love and loyalty are planted when one plants and nurtures a tree. And a person who plants a tree, he does so for his far-cast thought of civic good. So, if you see, already the poet says that a person who plants a tree, he plants in sap and leaf and wood, in love of home and loyalty. Now, sap here means a liquid in a plant that carries food to all parts. And a leaf, this sap and leaf of a tree is used as food by human beings. And the trees also provide us with the wood, which is used for a number of reasons. Wood is useful for making furniture, for building houses, for building huts, cottages, and it is also used as railway sleepers. It also provides us fuel. So a person who plants a tree, he not only provides food for the humankind, but he also provides other numerous benefits to human world. That is the reason the poet says that a person who plants a tree, he does so out of his love and loyalty towards his fellow human beings. Now, planting a tree is also an act of civic good. What do we mean by civic good? Civic here refers to the people, to the public. So when our actions are directed towards the welfare of the people living in our neighborhood, then that action is called of civic good. So planting a tree is also an act of civic good, because the person who plants a tree, he does so for the benefit of the society. He plants a tree so that human beings can get food from the plants in the form of sap and leaves, and besides, human beings can also get wood from the trees, which is used for different purposes like building cottages, huts, making furniture. It provides fuel to us, and it is also used for making railway sleepers. So in other words, we can say that the trees benefit the entire society and thus helps in the growth, advancement and development of the nation. Now, if you notice one thing here, you will find that the entire poem runs on a series of metonymic associations of a tree with its qualities. Now, to understand this particular line, we need to understand that what do we mean by metonymy. Metonymy is a figure of speech in which a thing or a concept is called not by its own name but rather by a metonym, that is, by something associated in meaning with that thing or concept. Like in the poem, the poet has used a number of metonymic associations. He says, a person who plants a tree plants cool shade. So you see, a person who plants a tree, actually it might appear to be a foolish question. When we say, what does a person plant who plants a tree? When he is planting a tree, it is understood that he plants a tree. But instead of using the term plants a tree, the poet uses several other terms which are closely associated in meaning with the tree. Like he uses the term cool shade, tender rain, a friend of the sun and sky, forest, heritage, sap and leaf and wood. All these are different words which refers to the tree. And he uses these words to refer to a tree because they are closely linked or associated with the tree. So therefore, they all are examples of metonyms as they bear direct association with a tree. Now, a person who plants a tree, he in the hollow of his hand. What do you mean by hollow? If you see in the image, the slide, I have shown you an image where a person is holding a sapling in his hand. Now when you hold your hand in that way, an empty space is created in your hand. So hollow here refers to that empty space. So when you want to plant something, you need to hold that sapling in the hollow of your hand. So a person who plants a tree, he holds in the hollow of his hand the growth of all our land. Okay. So here the poet means to say that a person, by planting trees, he showers his blessings upon his neighborhood. He holds the future progress of mankind in his hands. And the growth of a nation greatly depends upon the forest reserve of that country. Because you see, sandalwood and many other medicinal plants, they are exported to other countries. So they bring in lot of revenue and wealth to the nation. Moreover, they ensure a healthy environment for the people, a peaceful and harmonious environment for the people, which is instrumental for the development and progress of the nation. So therefore, a person who holds in the hollow of his hand a tree, he is instrumental in the country's growth and development, because a country's growth and development largely depends upon its wealth of trees. And a person who plants a tree is conscious of this particular fact. Now, what is noteworthy here, if you see that line, holds all the growth of all our land. Before that line, the poet says, who in the hollow of his hand. Now, if you closely observe this line, you will find that the word his is capitalized. H is capitalized in the word his. So, why it is capital? So, capital H in his is used to refer to God Almighty. It is used to refer to God Almighty. So, therefore, the poet here elevates the person who plants a tree to the level of God. According to him, the man who plants a tree has been rightly described as God-like, as it is indicated by the use of capital H in the expression his hand. The poet in fact becomes more conscious and could see that the growth of the universe is possible only by planting trees. And our land will become barren without any trees. So it is the love, it is the obligation towards the society that makes a man plant a tree. A person who is conscious of the growth and development of the nation will obviously plant a tree. So this is all about the poem. Then we move to the concluding remarks of this particular poem. Now, if you see here, now it is certain that this particular poem, The Heart of the Tree, was written many years ago, when there was less concern among people about ecology and environment. People were not so much concerned about the preservation of nature, about ecology and environment. Though the poem was written long time ago, still the poem has a deep and profound message to convey to the people of the present generation. Because in our times, what do we observe? We observe that the forest, the trees are being destroyed for different purposes, maybe for building roads, bridges, for laying out railway tracks. So for different purposes, the forest and the trees are being destroyed. And no one seems to be concerned about trees in this modern period. And that is the reason why the poet draws our attention towards planting more and more trees. He says that one who plants a tree plants many things. He plants beauty, prosperity, harmony, and good values. And in fact, the man is instrumental in the growth and development of the nation, as is revealed through the line, "A nation's growth from sea to sea steers in his heart who plants a tree." It is important to note here that the tree is used in this poem as a symbol of whatever good there is in our life. It may be values, it may be peace, or whatever good thing that we can experience in our life, whatever good thing that we can find in our life, that is symbolized by the tree here. The tree is also a symbol of peace and prosperity, and it ensures rewards of planting it even for unborn children. So if we plant the tree now, it will bring rewards, it will bear fruits for the coming generation. Then let us discuss the theme of the poem. Now, after reading the poem, by now you must have come to know that the poem basically concerns with the benefits of planting trees. Here, the poet makes an attempt to educate the readers about planting trees for our very existence and survival. In fact, this poem glorifies the act of planting trees, and it equates the man who plants a tree with God-like attributes. According to the poem, a man who plants a tree is no less than God. And trees serve to beautify nature. They provide a home for the birds and offer us cool shade. They bring tender rain to us, and they are the source of cool breezes, cool wind. They keep the environment balanced by taking in carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen. Moreover, trees also help in reducing pollution in the air. They never cease to exist. Trees exist, they do remain. They may wither, they may die, but they grow again from the seeds, from the fruits that the trees bear. Okay. So they continue the process of regeneration by shedding seeds and leaves that give birth to new plants. And these plants are needed to maintain a balance in the ecosystem. Trees are important for the survival of humanity, as they bless the human beings of today, and they also provide our future generations with numerous benefits. Just like the human heart helps in the proper functioning of the human body. Okay, what is the function of heart? The heart helps in the proper functioning of human body by pumping blood into different parts of the body. Same way, trees also maintain the lives of birds, animals, and human beings. The poet conveys that we must plant new trees to ensure a harmonious and stable way of living for us and for the generations to come. The poet also points out the importance of planting trees. The poet says that a person who plants a tree actually plants them for the future generation. He is concerned about the future of the Mother Earth, and he fulfills his social responsibility by showering his blessings upon his neighborhood in the form of planting a tree. Trees are needed for the growth and development of the nation in general. We cannot survive on this planet without any trees. Thus, the poet makes a fervent appeal to all the readers to plant more and more trees to prevent the environment from degrading. We must plant trees keeping in mind the welfare of the coming generation, of the coming age. Now let us try to understand the tone of the poem. Now the tone of this particular poem, The Heart of the Tree, is inspiring, straightforward and educative. The poet, because in this particular poem, the poet inspires and educates the readers about the benefits of planting trees. In fact, the poet is concerned about Mother Earth and lays down different points to illustrate the usefulness of trees to protect the earth. He encourages everyone to plant more trees, not only for themselves but also for the coming generations. The survival of the future generations is greatly dependent on our outlook to plant trees. Trees keep the environment stable by purifying the air, causing rain, offering cool breeze and shade, providing food, wood and medicines, and providing a home for the birds in the sky. The poet uses simple words in this particular poem to deliver his message. That tree plantation is no longer a hobby or a luxury. Some people used to plant trees as a hobby or luxury, but now tree plantation is no longer a hobby or luxury. It has become the need of the hour. It has become the necessity for our survival. Now, the title of the poem. So if you see the title, now the poem is titled as The Heart of the Tree. Let us try to understand how appropriate is the title of the poem. Now this title, The Heart of the Tree, is very appropriate as the poem focuses on the values, usefulness and benefits of a tree. The poet refers to the heart of the tree. Now the question that arises before us is that what kind of heart does the tree possess? The tree possesses a kind, generous and magnanimous heart. It doesn't. Why? Because we are saying it possesses a kind, generous and magnanimous heart, because a tree does not show any type of discrimination among people. It blesses everyone. It blesses those people who take care of it, and it blesses even those people who neglect it. A person who plants a tree, who nurtures it, who sees that the tree grows tall, the tree blesses that person by providing food, shade, cool breeze. And a person who cuts down a tree, he is also blessed by the tree, because the tree provides wood to that person. So it blesses everyone without any discrimination. That is why the poet praises a person who plants a tree. And seen from another perspective, you will find that human heart, when we talk of human heart is one of the most important organs of human body. It is needless to tell you all the function of human heart. We all know that human heart pumps blood, which carries all the vital nutrients and materials to different parts of the body. Only when the heart pumps the blood, it is able to transport oxygen from one part of the body to another. Likewise, a tree also has certain qualities which are as essential as the human heart. Trees absorb carbon dioxide and they give out life-giving oxygen. Trees cause rainfall, and like human heart, they provide us with the sap and leaf and wood. That is all the required minerals, nutrients and material things that is needed by human beings for their survival. Thus, we can conclude that the title of the poem is very apt and appropriate, as the poem is about trees and their importance for the survival of mankind. So this is all for the class. What lesson do we learn from this particular poem? Okay. I will end this video with a quote. He who plants a tree plants a hope. Okay. A person who plants a tree plants a hope. We become hopeful of a better tomorrow. We become hopeful of the growth, development and advancement of human society and the nation at large. And we are hopeful of our survival. So, planting a tree is a hopeful activity. The question is how much devoted we are towards this act. If each one of us does not plant at least one single tree, then reading this poem is useless and the message of the poet will go in vain. If you can't plant a tree, at least plant a sapling. It has its own benefits. Take care of that sapling, nurture it and see that it grows properly. With this message, I would conclude my class, and this is all from the poem The Heart of a Tree. I hope you have understood the poem well. If you have any doubts, you are most welcome to call me anytime you want. Thank you for watching the video and stay blessed.